Hello, my name is Shiva. I'm the developer of
FPX.
Jungle Go FPX. Of course, it would interrupt me right in the middle of that. This is for Future Pinball and Bam. Nate has asked me to talk about my game a little bit and to show you the gameplay and tell you some of the things that you need to go through to be able to develop a game like this. As you can tell, this is my homage to the great bally tables from the late 70s and the early 80s. To be honest, in fact, it pretty much screams bally at you just by looking at it, doesn't it? Anyway, we'll just show you a couple of other things. We'll just show you the nice, wonderful back glass that took me like a whole 5 hours to actually do. It's just, anyway, before I start rambling on, I love the Bally games. I was raised on the Bally games when I was a kid, when I was in high school. I would spend an enormous amount of time playing them. In fact, the Playboy game was mainly responsible for me getting a C grade average in high school. I've just got hooked. And I still to this day prefer the old classic style games from Bally, and also games from Williams like Black Knight and from Gottlieb, Haunted House. I still prefer those games. These games are very, very, very different from the games that you see nowadays. Most of these games are a lot faster. Most of these new ones, they're just a lot faster. Everything is all crammed in. They got tons of ramps, and they got sort of like cheap Chinese plastic toys glued on them and everything else like that. But you know what? You just can't beat the classic game just for how it plays and how it feels. And these games are actually very, very, very challenging. So why don't we start a game?
Jungle Go.
And we'll start off with the skill shot. The ball goes right across the playfield. The object is to get behind those 3 little inline drop targets at the top there. There's a saucer there. If you manage to do that, you get multi-ball. I've always been a big believer that a game should start with a very, very, very good skill shot. It sort of lays the platter for the rest of it. So let's see if I can do that. Oh, almost. Beyond that, you can tell that there was a lot of design elements from various games that Bally produced during that time period in here. For instance, the screenshot and the bumpers came from Viking. There's elements of the Phantom pinball table here. There's a tiny little bit of 8-ball deluxe in here. A lot of people will recognize the slingshot arrangement from Centaur. There are all sorts of various different Bally elements. I just sort of took what I needed and I sort of put them in a blender and pressed puree, and this is what I ended up getting. Development time. Well, you know what? This took a long time to do. At least a couple of years, and I've been picking at it ever since. There are some things that I had to redo over. The script, for instance, is incredibly complex for a game of its type. As well, I actually ended up throwing out pretty much all of the artwork and redoing it from scratch because it just didn't look right. And I wanted a more Paul Ferris look. The great artist in Bali that did such incredible artworks like Centaur and Xenon, among other games. He was really the best pinball artist of all time, and I just wanted to at least do justice to that. Now, one of the big things with Jungle Go is that it has some new things to the FP community, and one of them is the variable coil flippers. Most FP games, the strength of the flipper is exactly the same no matter what angle the flipper is. So in other words, the ball can shoot like a rocket no matter what. With the variable coil flippers, what it actually does is it adds a different strength depending on the angle. So the lower your flippers are, the less strength it has. So if you have a ball on a regular flipper, for example, the ball will come off of it like a rocket. While with the variable coil, see if I can do this here. There, see? Not a great example, but you can see that the ball just didn't come off very well. Let's see if I can do it on this one. Yeah, you see? Now this gives you the ability to do a whole bunch of things that FP never was able to do before, like doing little flipper tricks and tap passes and all sorts of stuff. It also gives you the ability to be able to lock the ball or to at least vary the speed of how the ball comes off the flipper. This is one of the big things. You'll be seeing this in a few other tables. Several other authors have already decided to add shiva flippers, and down the road I'm going to improve on this just a little bit. In the meanwhile, as the game goes, it's just a real fun table. Yeah, I'm getting too into the game. I haven't played this in over a month, and I've forgotten how much I enjoy playing this. I've been playing this stupid game for well over 2 years. I never get sick of it. As you can see, I actually managed to get a locked ball, so I can now stop playing and continue talking. Well, you know, oddly enough, there isn't really much more to say about this. It is what it is. It's just a real fun game. I spent a lot of time just making sure that it plays as well as FP is capable of playing. And as the table goes, it really follows some very simple rule there. Easy to learn, fun to play, hard to master. And this is this particular table in spades. I've noticed from what people have been telling me is that their wives really love playing this game for some strange reason. And it's because it is such a simple game. It's such an easy game to figure out. And yet it can be very challenging. And like all Bally games, it has a small degree of nastiness to it sometimes. So you'll find that if you're very familiar and you like these kind of games, I really hope you give this a shot. I think you'll find that it's actually an incredibly fun, really nicely put together table. It's just a gas to play. And it's a great game for, say, if you got your friends around, because this does support 4 players. Anyway, I believe I have rambled on long enough. I'm sorry for the poor quality of this video. I've actually never done this before. I hope I've done a good enough job, and hopefully Nate will continue to ask other authors in both the Future Pinball and VPX community just to talk about their games and just go through some of the stuff that we went through. In the meanwhile, there's how it looks in the editor, and of course there's not much use in showing you the script because it's actually rather excessively long. For those of you who wish to do games like this, it takes a long time to learn this stuff, but you know what? I started off with not knowing anything about any aspect of design or graphics or audio or scripting or anything else, and I managed to learn, so I would strongly expect that most of you should be able to do it. It just requires a lot of patience. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and happy pinball!